Hey guys, OFSREagle here bringing you a brand new video today. Today I am bringing you what I think to be my last installment in the series, my go-to skill jumps. Think I've covered pretty much every competitive map in the 343 playlist, aside from Mercy on FFA, and the only reason why I'm not including that is because the only game type playlist that you would come across Mercy competitively is FFA, and even at that, a lot of people don't like it, so it probably isn't going to be in there too long. You'll never find it in a tournament setting whatsoever. To be honest, there's only two jumps that I really do, and Novacast has covered them in his previous videos before. There's nothing I can really add to that, and they're not that difficult at all, so I'm not going to even bother with that. This is the last map, Regret. I have made a video on this specifically for free-for-all. And with this, I'm not going to be going over the free-for-all meta. I'm just going to be going over just the specific jumps that I use quite often, whether it be in Casual Slayer, the Slayer playlist, or the free-for-all playlist. So with that, let's get into it. So you just saw me do one there. I did it by habit. So this is going to be on the Carbine side. And so the first thing, it's on red and blue Rampart. You'll see this blue little capsule here. What you do, it's a thrust bump kneecap. You're going to be at a full sprint, and you're going to run into it, and then you're going to jump thrust. Even there, I did it too late. And then you're going to hold jump after you do it, stabilize, hold crouch, spam crouch, clamber. And what that allows you to do is quickly get to basically the highest you can get on the map besides up there. It is possible to get up there, but it's completely not really realistic for any competitive play. But this is a nice quick way to get to top mid, and not just up here, but even higher up, because it does allow you a sight line over to areas normally you wouldn't be able to see. And you are exposed for a brief second, but typically people don't look up this high. And so especially in FFA, this will have a big FFA connotation. But this is what I really use to right off of spawn. If I spawn here, if I'm not aware of where people are, I use it to quickly find out what's going on around me. So again, how you're going to do it is you're going to sprint, jump thrust, and you're going to do a kneecap off of it and thrust and hold jump. And that's going to give you the height you need to clamber that. So jump thrust. And if you saw right there, now I was a little bit short, but you saw right there, like my Spartan did a little stutter, and that's the game kind of glitching, and then it figures out, oh, you need to go forward, and that's what kind of gives you the launch right there. And then I press an old jump, stabilize, and then press spam crouch, hold crouch, whatever you want to do, and you'll be able to clamber that. Just with practice, you'll be able to get it. So I do hit it with a full sprint, and I'm kind of lining up the edge of this along the inner edge of this little, I don't know, whatever you want to call that, alongside the outer edge of that, and that's kind of the angle I go for, and I tend to hit it every time. Sprint jump and then hold jump. It's nothing really delayed at all, but that should work. The next jump that I'm gonna do, this is for the bottom of the bases, blue one or red one, is you can do something like this. But what I found, especially for gunfights near blue or red 2, is it's going to be a little similar to Truth. Now in Truth, this bridge isn't here, so you would do a lot of drop downs, right? And then you would normally be able to walk backwards, jump, hold, crouch, and then clamber up there, right? But that's not accessible here. No matter what you do, it's just not possible. So what you end up having to do is you can do a spring jump here. So what I do a lot of times to fake people out is, let's say they're in a fight, they clamber up, they throw a nade, I drop, and I set up a spring jump glitch right there. When I drop, I'm pressing hold crouch, press hold jump right as I fall, and then I can do the spring jump glitch, and you're going to clamber right at the corner. And so a lot of times I use that when someone is right here shooting at me and they throw a grenade, and they see me drop, they're going to drop too, right? It may not be that quick. I'll kind of wait for them to push out a bit. So let's say they just clamber, they got a few shots, I drop, and then I come right back up, and that's right when they go down. And so now what's going to happen is normally they're gonna think, from this perspective, let's say they just saw me drop. If they don't see me here, obviously because they just did a spring jump up, they're gonna think I went off this way. So they're gonna do something like this. And when that happens, they're probably gonna chase it. And me sitting right here, it won't work 100% of the time because you might start being shot from other angles. But if I can wait here just a second, I might see them below me start sprinting this way, and then I'll be able to drop down for a back smack or something like that. Another way I'll use this is, let's say I just spawn down here, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. A lot of times I'll hear gunfights going on around me, because there's a spawn, especially for free-for-all, there's a spawn point here, and a spawn point here. So you can spawn here and an enemy will spawn over here, and that's totally fine for the game. So a lot of times you'll hear a gunfight just starting up right as you spawn here. And what I'll do is if I hear it going on above me, I'll set up the spring jump and I'll go up here and see if I can finish up a kill or not. Now, the one thing you want to do is when you set up the spring jump glitch, if you are doing the glitch, you want to be careful of the distance between you and the ledge. If you're too far away, it won't work. So something like this is obviously too far away. If you go too far underneath it, it won't work. So a lot of times you'll find yourself doing this, and then you start getting shot and naded out, and you're dead. So you want to make sure you can clamber the ledge, not be directly underneath it. And then the other thing is, even if you do it irregular or not, if you're doing the glitch, and if you press jump too late on your downfall, you're actually going to jump when you hit the ground. So like this. So there, even though I like press jump here, I'll set it up and you guys can see my controller. So these are my thumbs, or my pinkies activating, alright? So right there, even though I like hit the ground even though I press jump right before I hit the ground, it's still too close and the game thought I wanted to jump. And so it'll ruin your spring jump glitch. So you have to make sure right as you fall off, hold jump, hold crouch, and you're good, and then you can do it. Now, if you do it too early, you're going to get something like this, where you just jump off, and then you're going to be out in the open. So just be careful of those things. Now, another, like right there, I was too far underneath it. Now, another thing I'll do a lot of times with this, if I'm being pushed from either side, what I like to do is use these windows to your advantage, or these attics. Even though, like normally in truth, one of them is a window, one of them is an attic. These are both attics. You can clamber the outside, right? On both sides, on both red and blue. And it's really useful for escaping a gunfight and actually flanking behind someone. Even if you're not full shields, what I can recommend, even if they are full shields, you can sprint this way and thrust up here, and most people will not predict this. And you can, depending on if you know the level of player you're going up against, you can kind of bait them here, see if they peek around and like get the jump on them. Or what I normally do most of the time is I continue my movement this way. And it's really good at, like I said, flanking around someone. Let's just say I'm over here by, blue leaves or whatever. And especially for this engagement I'm going to tell you 90% of when I use this jump. When someone's pushing me this way, I will go this way and I'll purposefully sprint around the corner, and almost 100% of the time they're going to think I dropped down here. Because that's what most people do. They'll do something like this, or they'll go to top mid, right? Most of the time they do this because they think they're being sneaky, but most people do that. So then they'll be looking for that, right? So what I do is I'll do this a lot, and it almost always works out right here. That is the most useful way to implement these attics. It's very easy. It's not like you have to clamber there, and especially if you're being chased, let's say overshield chasing you, because when someone is overshield, they're a lot more aggressive. What I do is I do this and I immediately stop sprinting like this, and I just jump, and if I need to clamber, that's fine. Then I get thrust through, and normally I get the flank. Even from the Eli over here, it's useful. You will have to sprint, but you can clamber the corner and walk around, and you're not going to be showing up on radar if it's HCS free for all, and it's something that I find that's really good at juking. Just implementing that in the right way. And you can also, it gives you, because you can sit up there, it gives you a moment to like kind of figure out if they're going to like chase you around, if they're going to double back, and it just gives you a second to kind of assess your surroundings. So really learning how to implement that into the your movement is really good. And like I said, it's great for juking. You can stay off the ground because a lot of gunfights and nades kind of fall in here, so it's good to avoid all that. Right there is another small jump that I do a lot. I can do it like that. Now the next jump that I do often is just being able to learn how to clamber these corners here, these little jutting out parts. Again, you want to clamber the edge. I mentioned this before in the other video, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But it's just something that's good to really get familiar with. It will help you, if done right, get out of a lot of bad situations. Something that a lot of people seem to get caught in, and they get hung up here because they don't know how to exactly clamber it. So just you're gonna jump, hold, crouch, clamber. That's the movement you're gonna use. Jump, hold, crouch, clamber. And notice where I'm not clambering too far on the inside. I'm not too far on the outside. I'm kind of right in the sweet spot in here. And done right, you can hit this one without the first clamber, but then I find you slide around a lot, and so like it's really hard to like clamber the top there. So I just jump, hold, crouch, clamber, jump, hold, crouch, clamber, and I'm good. The next jump that I use a lot is this here. A lot of times there's a big spawn point for free fall here. All you're gonna do is walk forward, sprint, thrust, hold, jump, and it's gonna land you right up here on the Eli. And it's really useful because a lot of times, like I said, there's a spawn over here and then there's a spawn out here. So a lot of times you'll lock eyes and you can get shot at here. And also, a lot of times I find that there's often someone coming around a corner right when I spawn, so they'll get this shot on me, right? So if I hear them coming around, they're going to hear my thrust. They're going to think I'm down here because of where I thrusted. And so if you look on the radar where I'm disappearing, when this is free-for-all, I'm disappearing right in front of the Eli, so they're actually thinking I'm going below to the red or blue one. So often they're coming around here looking this way, and then I can have the drop on them. It's really useful. It's a good habit to get into when you spawn here, because this is a very exposed position. So sprint forward, thrust, hold, jump, and hold crouch. You're going to be able to land up here without a clamber, and you're put in a good position from this point. Now, the last jump that I think I'll put in this video for you guys to know is this little thrust here. It's very easy. It's nothing new. I'm sure you guys have seen it. I have mentioned before the jumps here where you kind of sprint, thrust in. I do use it, not too often. It depends on the situation. But one that I do use a lot, especially, is for blue yard. To go up to top mid, you thrust right into these rocks and you'll land up here just fine. Again, you're going to be sprinting. You don't need to even be at a full sprint. You can just literally be standing next to it, kind of like the one I do on Truth a lot. It's going to shove you right up there. And what you're aiming for, if you see, is right in between these two rocks. Not too far, you're not slanted too far this way, too far to your left or right, just kind of perpendicular to it. It's going to shove you right up there. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy this video. I know it was pretty quick, but again, this is nothing new. I'm not the one to discover things or anything, but I'm just letting you guys know what I use a lot, what I find necessary. There's a lot of jumps on a lot of maps, and it's hard to master all of them. So I'm showing you the ones that I found to be the most useful. That way may give you guys indication as to what to prioritize in doing skill jumps and what to master above others. And over time, I'm sure you'll hopefully come to master all of them, but you have to start somewhere. So hopefully this is useful to you, and just so you guys know, this is probably the last in the series, but I am very excited. I've received some feedback with some pretty respectable people in the YouTube community who have kind of given me some ideas for direction because I didn't know quite what to do after this. So I'm excited to say that I'm going to be starting a new series where the main focus of my channel is going to be, I'm going to be really putting in some time and effort into doing gameplay reviews. If you guys, I mentioned it before, if you guys didn't know, I teach lessons, and that's something that I really have a strong suit for. And the way I kind of look at them and the way my brain works for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my own gameplay reviews, and every time that I have a game that I want to point out, I'm going to go over and just do highlights of certain plays I did in that game and lessons we can learn from. 3 things I did wrong, 3 do's and 3 don'ts, and hopefully I'll also teach you guys how you can review your own gameplay, because that's a good habit to have. Recently I saw a pro player say, I forgot who, but he said, if you're not reviewing your own gameplay and you still want to be a competitive player, you're not going to get anywhere. Reviewing your own gameplay will help you a lot in learning how to get better. So I'm going to start doing that for my channel and sharing with you guys what I learned, kind of tweak, critique myself, and hopefully you guys will benefit from it. And with that, I'm going to finish up this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Be sure to like and subscribe. Peace.